It's The Rob from 106.1 Kiss FM here once again with my tag team partner in podcasting, the amazing, rambling Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm feeling good. I'm all jacked up, and I'm ready to rock. But I'm not bleeding from the forehead, which I wish I was.
Well, you just started talking, so who knows? They could start gushing at any point.
I read that it's because he slams his head on the door before he comes out.
You know, I actually haven't read anything at all this morning. I don't know why I haven't checked my news sites. I tried to do it before post to post, but I didn't. I assumed he had shaved his head right before he went out and maybe nicked it. But what you said makes sense.
It comes from a story that they just from months ago. I guess Sasha Banks and Bailey were standing there, and he looked at them before the cameras were on him, and he was like, "You didn't see this." And then bang, 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 he just started banging his head up against lockers and doors to get himself all fired up.
Wait, well, maybe that's what got the whole promo off. That made no sense. Like, I don't know. The whole thing was, I mean, you can say it was the promo that he was bleeding from his head from, or you can say that was the promo that Goldberg mixed all of his words up.
He pulled a total Titus O'Neil on that one.
Honestly, it was worse than Titus, especially because this was a main event kind of thing.
Right, and he sandmaned himself with might as well have been smashing beer cans on his head and hitting himself with a Singapore cane. So he's just standing in the ring bleeding, talking about how the road runs through the Royal Rumble. He's just upside down. He didn't know what he was saying.
It was like a WWE Mad Libs.
I think he was wrong. Like, he revealed too much when he said someone gets a shot at either Kevin Owens or Roman Reigns, completely eliminating the possibility that the winner could go after SmackDown if they wanted.
Well, I don't know. I feel like, in Goldberg's world as a Raw guy, that's just, I don't feel like he revealed anything by that. I felt like last night was a great example of a comparison I've always liked to make. Usually I make this about Scott Steiner promos.
Scott Steiner promos are my favorite. I watched some this week. And
maybe you've heard me say this before, and if you have, just feel free to laugh at it again. But it's like Scott Steiner, he's got like a great promo in his head. And he's so sure about this promo that he wants to write it down. He writes it down on note cards. But right when he's walking down to the ring, somebody bumps into him and knocks all the note cards out of his hands. So he just picks them up and puts them into his hands, but they're all out of order. And I just feel like he had all the right words were there. They were just in the wrong order.
Right, but it wasn't quite as bad as the Scott Steiner promo where he was talking. Remember the math equation he gave?
No, that was Sid and Kevin Nash.
Oh, that was Sid and Kevin Nash. The one from Scott Steiner was when he shot on Ric Flair and he was talking about dead people, and it was insane.
Well, I mean, you can pick any number of Scott Steiner ones or Sid ones for that matter. But yeah, it was just like, well, it's great to be back here in the World Championship, and I'm gonna regain the WWE. And it's like, I mean, you've all the words are there. You just got them. You got them out of order, bud.
And he's bleeding, and he was all smoked up. As crazy as it started, and as weird as a promo that is, that's one of the weirder Goldberg moments you're gonna have. I really liked the end segment. I think everybody probably did. It was designed for us to enjoy it because when Raw goes off the air, you're like, okay, there you go. I'm happy with that. That's.
So you said that was one of the goofier Goldberg moments or whatever. To me, and one of my notes is, Goldberg, this is the Goldberg I know and love.
This is Goldberg. You keep saying it. You're just like, oh, he beat Brock Lesnar in a minute 26. You wanted Goldberg. You're getting Goldberg.
Well, listen, and remember when Undertaker came back to SmackDown 900 and you were all jazzed up? And I remember when Goldberg came back, and to his credit, his welcome back promo was a magical moment that was not screwed up, except for like the shirtless kids and just the grabbing the kids and stuff like that. But right. I was like, okay, sure. He had one good promo that so far on his return, he's one for one. Very good. Just wait, because at the end of the day, he's still Bill Goldberg. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He hasn't changed. He can't walk to the ring without blading.
He's bladed. I mean, that was just so funny. I was like, he's bleeding. Is he really bleeding? Like, I thought there was something on my television.
That's what I thought
didn't
too.
See him touch his head. He never touched his head.
But see, like, so here's. Let me just read my notes from this cluster mess that happened during that promo. This is just my string of thoughts. WTF is going on here? I look down for a second, and Goldberg is dripping blood. He's all lost on the mic again. Good. The Goldberg I remember is back. OMG, this is a mess. He even referred to the Royal Rumble as being next Sunday when they hate that it's this Sunday. He's shaking on the mic. I cannot believe how bad this is. A strong candidate for worst promo of the year. Those were all the things. I can't imagine one worse than that. And if it is, it's not going to be in as high of a as high on the card as this is, as high importance as this promo is.
No, this was hyped all through Raw. This was a Raw main event promo, and he blew it.
Couldn't have been worse.
He was saved at the end by the drama and the fact that three icons were in the ring together, facing off before the Rumble.
He was lucky that they dropped $3 million on this segment to bring back himself, Lesnar, and Undertaker to save it.
And this 10 minutes is brought to you by $3 million.
So I looked down for a second, like I mentioned. I look up and he's dripping blood, and I have no idea what happened. So I rewind my DVR, and I keep realizing that I haven't rewound far enough because I had to go all the way back to his dressing room to see where the blood started. He was already bleeding by the time he was out of his dressing room.
He was bleeding before he came out. He needed super glue or something. He busted himself up. He gave himself a Sandman. That's exactly what he did, only he didn't do it on camera. He must have felt so goofy. He must feel awful this morning. I don't know. I think he's Goldberg this morning. I think he doesn't care.
Well, yeah, but last night I don't think went quite as he wanted it to go.
My Lord. And it was inexplicable. You know, I love the promo where Ric Flair comes out after Triple H attacked him the night before, and he's got the bandage on his head, and he's bleeding, and he's smearing it all over his suit, and he's like, "You hurt me! You hurt me!" Like, that at least made sense. He's in there bleeding by himself, but I can wrap my head around it.
Well, not only that, he hit himself intentionally, and his goal was to make himself bleed. So there's a huge difference there.
And imagine me watching the first Raw I'm watching with my pain in the arse wife in forever. She'd been making fun of this the whole time. Like, she's making fun of the way they're talking and look at how they're dressed and and she's just tick, tick, pick, pick, pick. And one of my favorite wrestlers of all time comes out.
Do I hate you when you say that?
I was like, I love Goldberg. I'm marking out over Goldberg. Let me just get into this and let me just enjoy this. He's so freaking great. He's unbelievable. He comes out. He stands in the middle of the ring. He's bleeding already, and he can't talk. He's talking like he had a stroke. And she was like, "This is one of your favorites?" And I was like, "Just shut up. He's having a bad night."
Well, everyone watching this podcast is thinking the same thing. This is one of your favorites.
Well, you know that. I know.
I appreciate your honesty, but what a terrible choice.
I didn't say he's my favorite. He's not even in my top 5.
Yeah, he's probably in your top 10.
I think that you and I should. You don't know my full top 10. I feel like you and I should do that sometime soon. We give our top 10s, and I'll give you my top 10, and you give me your top 10, and we'll have some of the same. But boy, oh boy, I think we'll have some big difference.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, we can do it. I'm happy. I'm always happy to do it. I probably have it ready to go because I've ranked them before. I've probably got the list laying around there somewhere.
I haven't, but I'm sure your list won't have the Ultimate Warrior and Goldberg on it.
That's a safe bet. That's a safe bet.
But mine will.
We're both rocking Penn State football shirts today. At least Penn State.
We're killing it. And I like this shirt too much because I thought about blading before the podcast.
That's not necessary. We don't need that. We don't need that.
How great would it be if I did this from the top of a ladder and then I cut myself and I just...
The only bodily fluid we need spewed from you is what happens when you saw the Lana pictures. Let that be the end of it.
And forget the pictures. I was at a house show on Saturday, and oh my God, I can't even tell you in person. she looks so much better.
Oh yeah, I've seen her in person too.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, I know, bud. I know.
She looks so good.
Rusev, she was on the show last night. She looked great again. Rusev, I really feel like they're building him for comedy. And I don't know that that's a good move, but he had a great line last night. I noted a few things for line of the night. One of them came from Rusev. The one that I'm talking about right now was, quote, "You don't see me walking around calling myself handsome Rusev." I thought that was a great line. I don't know. See, Rusev, to be honest with you, is making me laugh, and he's doing it genuinely, like not like in the Santino Marella, I'm supposed to laugh at this because it's wrestling kind of way.
But he's still brutal in the ring. I'm okay with that. Jericho makes me laugh, and Kevin Owens makes me laugh.
But I just worry that he's going to get to that Santina place. He's not there now. I'm just worried that that's the destination for him.
I wanted to ask you: Is Enzo hurt, or are they moving Cass towards singles time? I don't think Enzo is hurt. Because at the house show they came out and it was Enzo and Cass, and it was Big Cass wrestled, not Enzo. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not positive how much I don't know what their plans are with either one of those, and I'm not sure there's a right or wrong answer. If they want to keep them as a tag team, I feel that's okay. If they want to split them up and make 2 single stars, that's okay. If they want to split them up and have Cass be the wrestler and Enzo be the mouthpiece, I think that's okay too. I don't want to see them feud. I want to see them stay a team though. Enzo, I don't think is like I don't know. I feel like they both bring different things to the table, which is why they're a perfect tag team. And if I had my choice, I wouldn't split them up probably ever, even though I know they will. I don't think either one. Enzo's not a strong enough worker, and Cass isn't a strong enough talker. Exactly. So that's my thoughts on that. That same segment had a great quote from Xavier Woods. I know maybe a lot of people. I think people probably are familiar with the meme by now. But when he looked at the guys and said, "Why don't you go on and cash me outside? How about that?" Are you familiar with that, or are you not familiar with that? I'm not. I love memes, but I don't know that meme. Well, you're going to start seeing it everywhere. It kind of gained some traction last week. It's this out of control 13-year-old from an episode of Dr. Phil. Okay. And she's trying to talk all hard, and she just kind of just says words weird. And what she's trying to say is, why don't you catch me outside? How about that? When the audience starts booing her, she kind of challenges them all to a fight. Right. But the way she goes, she gets on like a thug voice and she goes, "Yeah, why don't y'all catch me outside? How about that? How about that? How about that?" And that's like, now it's getting remixed and it's turning into memes. And Xavier Woods got on that one right as it was becoming huge. And it got a laugh out of me. I even Snapchatted it. Those guys are money. So I like that. If you didn't get the "how about that" reference, that's what that was. How about that? How about that? So that's what that was. I did give, I tweeted twice from the Corey Graves Twitter account at Corey Graves said, let's see. There was a few weird ones. And the first one I put was, Nese is he's talking about Tony Nese. Nese is a premier athlete, a premier launderer as well. Astute observation. Did you catch that one, or did you not catch that one? I caught it. Because I think it was Austin Aries or someone else said that he does his laundry on his abs because they're so hard. Like a washboard stomach. Washboard abs, exactly. So Corey, I think, kind of pointing out the absurdity of that metaphor, said, quote, "Nese, a premier athlete, a premier launderer as well. Astute observation." Dude, I see. Corey Graves is starting to grow on me. No, I see. You know what else bothers me about Corey Graves? And here, tell me if this bothers you at all. I feel like his character on air. Oh, I guess you specify here, because he's got his Raw character, which is like kind of trying to be a heel bad guy. And then whenever you see him on the network, whether he's hosting a special or whether he's interviewing Bayley and Charlotte, in a different segment on the same show, I feel like those characters clash. Yeah, like he was information guy for Cruiserweight Classic, and he was trying to be everybody's buddy. And then on Raw, he's a jerk.
Yeah, exactly. And I just feel like they contradict each other. That was kind of annoying to me.
It doesn't bother me.
There were a few more. I can't remember. I guess I didn't write down. I only went to Twitter with one of them. Hold on. Maybe I can pull up my Twitter here in a second. He also had a line about Bray Lee, who was the jobber for Nia Jax.
Yeah.
And his line was something about like, I didn't write this one down. I apologize. You can't just split a first name into a first name and a last name.
I missed that.
I thought that was kind of funny. And hold on, I'm almost positive I'm missing one of his quotes here. I want to give him credit where credit's due. So hang with me here. I got to pull it up on my phone. I apologize for this, but we're live. So
live, people.
All right. So here, while that's loading, let me say that, speaking of the Bailey thing, which we were just talking about, we're not going in order. I've got notes that are in order, but we're bouncing all over the place.
But she is so over. She is so over.
Not only is she over, they're handling her character 100% perfectly.
Perfectly.
Just make her relatable, and they're nailing that. They just want her to be relatable, particularly to the girls, but also to the guys, because a lot of guys have those memories, those cherished photographs of Bret Hart and John Cena and Rob Van Dam. And, mine just happened to be, Batista and, other guys like that I happened to meet. It wasn't Bret Hart, unfortunately, or John Cena. It was just, I have my Batistas and my New Days and my Christians.
She was the one superstar my wife didn't pick on last night because she was like, I love that she's a real person. She seems like a real girl. She's goofy. She's kind of nerdy. She's funny. She's cute. She's not trying to be hot.
Yeah.
That's why my daughter likes her. She got the biggest pop of all the women, including Charlotte, when we saw her. Like it was.
I totally believe that. Totally
all
believe
the
that.
Good girl, all the good guy team. It was a 6-woman match, and the team was Alicia Fox and Sasha Banks and Bailey, and they all came out to Bailey's music. So I was surprised that Sasha didn't get her own entrance, but she didn't.
So we had a nice little moment with Bailey at the last house show we had. How old's Allie?
9.
I would say that the girl sitting behind us was about 9 years old, and cute as a button. Actually kind of looked like Allie, reminded me of your daughter. And she's dressed as Bailey. Literally has the I'm a Hugger shirt. She's got tassels on her arm. I couldn't believe it. And she looked much like Bailey. And Bailey made a very special point and we were, let's see, I was 3 rows back. So the girl behind us would have been 4 rows back. And she had somehow gotten Bailey's attention, and Bailey, after the match, came over and reached over to give her armband that Bailey was wearing. And she couldn't quite reach 4 rows back, but she reached 3 rows back. And so she handed it to Brittany, and Brittany handed it to the girl. And you could tell the girl lost her mind. The girl was so happy.
Bailey does that. She made a point to stop at every single person that wanted her to on the way back to the ramp. Because it's a house show. She had time, and she took the time to just say hi to everybody. Yeah,
that's huge for her. And it's just being handled well. Not every girl needs to have that sexual vibe about her. And that's kind of the image that's being shattered now with this hashtag Divas Revolution. And, like when I look at any of the new girls, Sasha, Becky, Charlotte, Bailey, the first thing that comes to my mind isn't that they're attractive or not, or that they're sexy, or that their character is sexy. But when I think of like the Bellas, they've trained us to think that way. You know what I mean? Or like, anyone from the Bellas and before, anything from before the Revolution, it was so based on how sexy you were.
Oh, Stacy Keibler and Trish Stratus.
Yeah, right. Or, any of the Maurices and the Laylas and the Lay Cools and, just all that stuff. That was the determining factor, was what did you look like as opposed to how well can you wrestle.
Yeah, the only one that really broke that was Lita for the longest time.
Yeah, but I think people thought she was, even though I didn't.
Well, and I think so too. I think she was kind of like grunge hot, And, you know, she could say that she was trying to do it without being sexy, but her underwear was always showing.
Right. You don't see Bayley's underwear peeking out of her pants, you know, and,
Exactly.
and we don't need to. Like, and I would much rather have the sexless wrestling women as opposed to the uber hot but incredibly dull. You know,
I don't have to want to have sex with a wrestler to really enjoy them. My favorite active wrestler right now is Kevin Owens. I'm sure he's snuggly, but I don't want to get to know him in the biblical sense.
Listen, when I want sexual gratification, I go somewhere else. I don't go to wrestling. Yeah,
wrestling's not going to do it for me anyways because they're not doing depraved, awful things that they can't show on television.
Yeah, exactly. That's so, you know, I don't mind if they happen to be attractive or whatever, but let's just be, or if you've got like the crazy hot ones like Lana, have them be a valet, you know, like there's a spot for them.
Yeah, like they're not trying to, I like how they're not trying to pass Lana off as a wrestler.
Yeah, exactly. She is what she is, and we like it.
Love it.
In the biblical sense.
In the biblical sense.
You know, one thing that I've been meaning to mention every podcast since we've been back, and I haven't yet, is I am so excited, and I'm surprised. I don't know why I'm so excited. I am so excited for the WWE to return specifically to the Alamo Dome on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, there are some locations where they make the location a character, and the Alamo Dome is one of them.
Have you seen, I believe there's only been one WWE pay-per-view in the Alamo Dome. And to my recollection, it was Royal Rumble 97. Do you recall that or do you not?
Which one was 97? I can never remember the dates. You know me with dates. You'd have to tell me who won the Royal Rumble.
Shawn Michaels and Sid had a championship match, and I believe the Rumble was the one that ended in the schmaz, which I believe Stone Cold was the winner that night, but the decision got reversed a month later to, I think, Bret Hart.
Okay, because the Shawn Michaels first to the end, that was 95.
Yes, and then he also won 96.
Yeah. Okay.
And the 90s. But what my point was, it was a gorgeous venue. It was huge. It was a great venue. And
but it's 20 years later. Is it a dump now?
I doubt it. I bet you it looks great. I don't know for sure. But even still, like, I like when they have a whole lot of people. Like when WrestleMania sets attendance records, that does make me excited, even if it's stupid.
Listen, we're going to have 40,000 people. 40,000 people at the Royal Rumble. That's cool.
Is it just? I thought it was higher than that. Is that what it is?
Well, I mean, I heard someone yesterday say 40,000 people, and I think Roman Reigns is the one that said it. So I don't know.
You know, let me just Google this real quick. How many people does the Alamo Dome hold?
You do that, and I'll Google pictures of Lana.
Yeah, 72,000, bro.
72. Well, don't bro me, bro. Roman Reigns. He's the one that said
it. I trust me. I've broed Roman Reigns a couple of times.
Don't you bro me?
I was gonna say 40,000 is not that. 70-some thousand is. That's more like what I was talking about.
Well,
yeah.
Maybe the ticket sales are off. Maybe they're down.
Well, maybe that's what they're saying. Yeah, I doubt it though. I feel like they would. You know, what do I know? I don't know anything. So
listen, I get my news from Roman Reigns. That's me. You know,
he was nothing special last night. I felt like. Plus, since we're talking about Reigns, do you know what my big criticism about his segment is?
Is that he sucks?
Well, there's that, but it was a rematch from last week. A rematch again. Another rematch.
The only part that I enjoyed was Superman punch while Jericho's holding on to the shark tank.
Yeah, I mean that was.
I liked it. It was set up well. Come on.
I mean, it wasn't bad, but it didn't. It was what it was. I don't know. I don't have an opinion about it, I guess.
But one thing they haven't been able to do is make me excited. They've made me excited for Cena Styles. They've made me excited for Bayley and Charlotte. They've made me excited for the tag championships.
Relegated to the pre-show.
Yeah, is the tag championships pre-show?
They said that, yeah.
Oh, okay. Whatever. They've got me excited for all of this. I'm not excited for my favorite wrestler on the active roster to defend the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns. I'm just not. I'm not excited about it.
I wonder, because you were excited last month, or were you not excited for Roadblock?
Maybe it's because I'm convinced that Roman Reigns is going to win.
Yeah, we both are.
Maybe that's what it is. And by the way, I'm sure I'll change my mind, so I'm not showing you my hand. But if I just went like instantly down this card, I have the title changing hands in every match. I know that's not right. I've got to fix it. But
we're in the same spot. We're in the same spot. It's going to be interesting. Plus, I'm really deflated about one thing.
What's that?
Per a conversation that we had off the podcast, I'm convinced we're going to have the same person winning the Royal Rumble.
I don't know why you were convinced of that, because last night I saw something that changed my mind. So I've changed my mind again.
Oh, really?
I saw something last night that was like, oh, never mind, not him, moving on.
I'm trying to think of what you could have seen. Oh, unless, well, I mean, I guess it could have been, was it Seth Rollins?
It was.
Oh, okay. All right, interesting.
So I guess yours wasn't Seth Rollins.
Mm-mm.
I thought they were going to drag Seth Rollins and Triple H out longer than WrestleMania. I just did. I just felt it in my bones. And they're misdirecting you with everybody else, and they're putting everybody else. And I just kept looking at it, and I thought, it's going to be Seth Rollins. He's going to win it. And I thought he was going to win it. And then I thought for a while, I thought Jericho was going to win it. But if Jericho keeps that U.S. title, he's not going to win it. So I have a new theory, but it's completely changed. So don't ever try to predict how my brain's working. It's not the same.
Okay. Now I'm bummed that they took Rollins out. I wish you could have kept. I mean, he could still. I don't know.
He's getting back in. He's going to get back in.
That's what I was going to say. But I mean, I don't want to sway you. I know who's going to win, and I'm just worried. Now I'm even more worried. We've got the same person. Because now I know one person that it's so. All right, well, we'll get to that.
You're a mess. You know that, right? Can we recognize you're just an absolute mess?
Listen, I don't care if we agree on every match besides the Royal Rumble. I don't want you to pick the same guy as me in the Royal Rumble.
I don't know if we will.
All right.
We might. There are so many to choose from.
Yeah, that's true. It's wildly possible that anyone could win this year.
But, I could start eliminating some guys right now. I could start telling you the matches I think they're going to have. I'm having a huge problem. I wish we could talk about it off the air, but I know we can't.
Listen, after Thursday, I just want to say this for Thursday. I don't want you to know who I'm picking or who's winning the Rumble, I should say. And while we're talking about Seth Rollins, I had interesting notes about him because I thought because they had a good bit of time going into their first commercial break. I thought they were having a piss poor match. I was hating it. It was incredibly slow paced. It was dull. Nothing was happening. After that first commercial break, they got it back. They wound up having a great match, but heading into that first commercial break, I don't know what Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins were doing.
I agree with you. But I think at the end of the match, I can say that was one of my favorite segments of the evening. Not favorite, but it was a great segment.
Yeah.
It was a good match. It was good everything. I love the Triple H tease.
I want to get to that too.
They made the match mean something. But you're right. Before that first commercial break, I was like, this isn't the Sami Zayn or the Rollins that I know.
Yeah, and I didn't like it up until that point. But one thing I liked was I liked Triple H's music and the absence of Triple H. And what I mean by that is this is, in a way, it's that 1, 2, 3 kid booking that we talk about and we praise. We don't need all of it. We don't need all of it at once. Plant us a little seed. Let a cool little tree grow. And, just give us just enough. And that's what I think they did last night. I didn't need Triple H to come back and beat up Seth Rollins and get him eliminated. It enough happened last night. That was enough.
Yeah, there are 3 pay-per-views between now and WrestleMania. Let's take it easy.
Exactly right. And that's why I wanted to praise that segment. Let's see. I've got just a few more things, and we're getting close to the end of the show time. One thing I thought was a little lame was Detective Foley, as if he couldn't determine who played Triple H's music, as if he doesn't have access to the gorilla position to find out who pushed the button to play his theme music and his lights and all that stuff. Like, let's be serious. I thought that was a little suspect, but whatever. It's wrestling. You got to do what you got to do.
They're getting a little hokey with the GM and everything.
A little bit, but I mean, at least it all made sense. Like, you kind of needed Stephanie on the speakerphone if she wasn't going to be there because you needed her to.
I have a problem with Mick Foley.
All right, what's that?
Now. And we'll start by saying that when we do our top 10 list, he's my number one. We know that.
Sure.
But my problem is, and it's a radio rule that I think about. When you mess up on the air, or there's a screw up, or the wrong button gets hit, or the wrong audio plays.
Know what you're gonna say.
When you come out of it, maybe in that moment you mention, you play it off, you make it funny, you get out of it.
Know exactly what you're gonna say.
You don't go back and 10 minutes later remind everybody of the mess up. Oh, remember when I hit that button wrong and I played the wrong thing and whoopsie. You don't go back and you point out your mistakes. You move on, because chances are a lot of people missed it. And you reminding them does a disservice to yourself.
I'm going to give him a 1 week grace period on that, because he was able to kind of capitalize off it the next week when he wrote something on his hand.
He's writing it on his hand because he screwed up and he said Pittsburgh when he was in Columbus, and now he's writing it on his hand every week, and I hate it.
But that was that was like mid-December.
Yes, it was. It was when you visited me, when you were at my home, because that's when they were in Pittsburgh for the pay-per-view.
Right. Yeah, absolutely right.
Next Monday, the Monday you were home for Christmas break before Christmas, is when he started it was when he screwed it up. And since then, he writes the name of the city on his hand, and he makes a point to read it, and I hate it. I wish I could get a hold of him and say, Mick, you know so much. Let me help you a little bit. That's a great observation that I didn't even think of. That makes perfect sense. It upsets me, but maybe I'm just looking for a reason to be upset.
No, I think that's super valid. Once you got rolling, I was like, boy, how did I miss that? You're absolutely right. Great call. One more thing. I guess I have two more things really. The Bray Lynn and Nia Jax squash. Boy, that was fast even for enhancement talent standards. Yeah, this is gone. Poof. Right, yeah, and she was cute, I thought. Nia Jax? No, Bray Lynn. Asshole. She was asking about you on Saturday night. I'm sure she was. Whatever. And then I have just one last note that Mustafa Ali and his 450 reverse splash, his reverse 450 splash, that is a thing of beauty. It is pretty awesome. I hope they do something with him. I hope they do something with the cruiserweights, because I'm like their target demo for this, and it's missing with me. Well, I think Neville can save it. I don't know. I don't know if it's 205 live. I don't know if it's like how much different they make, like what Mike was talking about in the post show before, like how it's just like, it feels like an add-on to the show, like they're on an island. I don't know what it is, but the sum of everything is making it miss with me. Yeah, I'm starting to think that they need to start integrating it into the show and making the cruiserweights part of, instead of just having cruiserweight fighting cruiserweight, fighting cruiserweight, fighting cruiserweight, fighting cruiserweight, have a cruiserweight get into it with somebody else, Well, and you know how I feel about rematches, and you've got a real small pool to choose from. Yeah. So those are my thoughts about that. Is there anything else you want to mention before we wrap things up, man? No, I'm just glad that you made it the whole way through the podcast without bleeding. Yeah, both of us, we spoke for it's been like 25 minutes to half an hour now, and neither one of us have broken open. Just think how much Goldberg would have been bleeding by the end of this podcast. We'd have to be in a hospital. Well, that's going to do it for us today. So for myself, the Rob, and my tag team partner, Ramblin' Jerry Valeri, thank you so much for tuning in. Our predictions episode, which will include a spoiler for who will win the Royal Rumble, is on Thursday. Please keep it here to post. We'll be back on Thursday. Watch Rob and I pick the same guy to win the Rumble. It's coming up on Thursday. Thanks, man.